Welcome back to The Verdict. And that, as you can see, there are a lot of people already subscribing, sending in all their, PVCs, taking pictures with it. But what is missing is location and name. It's a good idea if we can know what part of Lagos you're at. Even
what part of the country.
Exactly. And even if it's as soon as you got it, just tell us where you are so that we can put it there, and it gives us a bit of a feeler
as to how many people are getting and from where and all of that. And then, of course, you can also actually shoot a very short video, explaining your experience as to how you got it.
Good, bad, or otherwise. Fantastic. So we've been having this conversation here in the studio. Prof was telling us that, even as far back as 10, 20 years ago, the results that we want are not always the results that we get in the elections. So I'm going to throw it to you over there in Abuja. Let me talk to Professor Maman, that's the Vice Chancellor of Beze University. And my question for you is, even as far back as 1979, when we look at voter apathy, because people say, oh, there's voter apathy, but it was there even as far back as then. And the result at that time was that the politicians and the government need to do a bit more to tell people how important it is for them to come out and vote. Do you see that as still crucial for us even now?
Well, thank you very much. Voter apathy is a factor of many, many variables. In Nigeria, sometimes we tend to give assignments to institutions which is not really their primary work. Like in our own case, under our law, we assign INEC the responsibility to educate voters. Now, to me, that is really not the right agency for that. It is the work of parties, political parties, to energize the electorate and their card-carrying members to ensure that they believe in what they do and then bring themselves out and bring their voters in. And so this is really where the crux of the matter. And then, of course, we have the issue of governance. What type of governance are people getting? And if we have responsible, accountable governance through, that will be a reason for people to want to come out and elect leaders. But over the years, the general complaints in the country about poor governance and poor accountability that people have been getting, and that generally affects apathy.
Yeah, but it's like
overall, that generally speaking, there is a certain margin of people coming out, even in developed democracies. There's a certain margin of usually 45, 50, even in some cases as low as 30-something. So it's really not peculiar to Nigeria. People not coming out in large numbers. We hope that this time around, with the level at which people are showing interest in the collection of their PVC, we hope that's an improvement in the interest of people in wanting to go out and vote their leaders. And I think the parties this time around have done quite some work in sensitizing the population, sort of, and together with the work of the INEC in doing that. So I believe we're going to have a significant improvement in voter turnout in the forthcoming elections.
Really? I mean, a lot of people say, this particular election season is not very appealing to them. Not much is happening. That's what you hear people say out there. But then when you say people don't come out, it's a catch-22 situation, because you get the government you deserve if you don't come out, yet you're unhappy to come out because of the government of the day. So let me bring it to you, Ms. Benite. Being at the Institute for National Transformation, how do you see it all? Not coming out, and having, the results that you do not want.
I did a little bit of review of history, and I realized that as a nation, we have not taken responsibility for our country. In building a society, Nigeria is not someone else's country. It's our country. And if you walk through history, that even at this point, the issue of civic education, the education of the populace, it is said that the education of the populace also increases the capacity of democracy. But when you have high illiteracy, people out of job, there will be all sorts of mindset, especially when you have a nation that 70% of her people are 35 and under. And therefore, those kind of people who you expect to dominate the numbers are disenfranchised. Some of them now 3 months out of school, all sorts of things that are happening within its polity. So I believe that one of the things I keep seeing that is repeating itself, maybe it's INEC, whether it's the government in power, that there is not enough education on citizenship. There is not enough education on why I should vote. Because people, people feel that, a young man told me, said, oh, madam, my vote will not count. I said, why would you say that? But this is a strong ideology, it's a strong conviction because of what he has seen in precedent.
But do you think he's been proved right over the years and his vote hasn't counted, and so that's why that is instilled in his mind?
I will not really agree, because at least I voted for the last few elections, and there's a sense, yes, we have irregularities, we have still rigging, whether we like it or not, call it what you want to call it. But the more citizens take responsibility, the harder it is for the politicians to use us. But the citizens themselves, they are not engaged in this system. So it's more of the political machineries and the political parties owning it more than the citizens. And as long as it's still the players are the one determining the processes and not us, the citizens, you get the same result. So we have a gap of understanding of what really this is all about. So people think, let me just take that bag of Gary, just take the 5,000, what's the big deal of these guys? I don't know what they are doing. But in the next time, you're complaining for what it is, because that individual does not have a conviction of her nationhood and being part of the process that makes things happen, because it's the big man and the small man mentality still.
As Mrs. Benete was talking, that the camera went to Mr. Uzi's face, or Saze Uzi's face, the director of voter education of INEC in our Abuja studios. Mr. Saze Uzi, I know that Professor Marman talked about the fact that the job of voter education and citizen awareness as it concerns elections has been given to INEC, whereas it is supposed to be the job of, in his view, the political parties. Mrs. Benite has also talked about civic education, the fact that most people are disengaged from the process. And so, now, first of all, my first question to you, or the first part of my question is, how has INEC fared in your view? I mean, you are in INEC. How has INEC fared with this issue of educating the voters? In fact, you are in charge of voter education. Now, second part of it, do you think that other agencies who may be perhaps more suited to this task even than INEC are also involved in the process as much as you would like?
Well, thank you. Up till 2006, INEC did not have the statutory responsibility of conducting civic and voter education. It did it as a consequence of its primary duty of passing across voter information, because INEC fixed the dates of election, it fixed the procedures. So it has a duty to inform members of the public and other stakeholders about some of these things. But after 2006, the Electoral Act was amended to include civic and voter education as part of its responsibilities. Whether it's best suited for any other organization, I don't know, but it's now a statutory responsibility of INEC. And that being the case, INEC has a duty to carry out those activities that are listed under its purview. And how far it has fared, I think it's for the public to judge, but it's very difficult to get the message to permeate for various reasons. Part of it is the fact that there are strong mindsets, and it takes a lot more to try to persuade people that really voting is should become part of our democratic culture. And people believe that the big man will always be there, the money bags will always take over, and in any case,